JP Morgan recently made a huge forecast, and to be honest, it's kind of crazy. They are discussing the possibility of $14 billion flooding into Solana and XRP. You heard correctly, billion with a B. Let's examine the potential effects of this on these two assets. The article focuses on a significant prognosis made by JP Morgan Chase about the possible effects of spot ETFs for XRP and Solana on the cryptocurrency market. If regulators accept the recently proposed XRP and Solana ETFs, they may attract a total of $14 billion in inflows in the first year. According to JP Morgan's ETF inflow forecast analysts, spot ETFs, XRP, and Solana may collectively attract $14 billion. The inflows might range from $4 to $8 billion for XRP in particular. It becomes even more intriguing at this point. For XRP alone, they have already increased their projections from $3 to $8 billion to $4 to $8 billion. People, the floor just increased by $1 billion. These figures continue to rise. Now pay attention. We won't have any hard data until these ETFs are approved and real money begins to flow. Right now, it's all just conjecture. Either fall short or go much above these figures. Here, no one has a crystal ball. However, you're seeing this prediction everywhere. There are watcher gurus everywhere. Every significant cryptocurrency publication is talking about it. In the article, they gave a few examples from the past, but I want to change topics for a while. A significant security compromise has occurred. Client information leaked all over the place. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? When will the industry wake up and begin securing people's data with blockchain technology? In any case, we also have additional XRP analysis and a few clips from Blackstone Capitalist. It's kind of a everything in the kitchen sink situation today. Let's listen. Does anyone else have an NDA? Alright. I believe we now have a stall. Well, not just BlackRock, but all of the major banks are attempting to amass XRP. It's an abhorrently corrupt private equity firm, not a bank. They will tell Ripple to assist us in obtaining a large amount of XRP for less than $3. We don't want to purchase it at the appropriate time of 7 or 8. Could you assist us in keeping it below 3? After all, who can truly know what goes on behind those boardroom doors? Is that the play itself? I will be honest with you. The idea that these powerful financial figures are actually huddled together plotting ways to lower prices so that ordinary investors may get XRP at a discount seems a little absurd. I find the story to be a little implausible. So, has there ever been market manipulation throughout history? Yes, without a doubt. But is that the game now being played? No, people. I can't say for sure. In any case, let's discuss this breach. Morgan Stanley, Citi, and JP Morgan. It appears that their client information may have been compromised by a third-party provider. And this is what truly bothers me. All of these outdated centralized databases are becoming more and more vulnerable as processors become faster and closer to quantum computing. A recipe for disaster is created when you combine AI-powered hacking tools, which are currently available. In essence, these outdated technologies are ticking time bombs. That is the main justification for why blockchain technology must be implemented immediately. Consider this rather than being stored on a company's susceptible server. Your bank records, tax returns, driver's license information, and health information should all reside on unchangeable decentralized networks. This picture shows a significant data breach that affected clients of Morgan Stanley and JP Morgan Citi following a compromise of their technology vendor, Sitmus AMC, that happened on November 12, 2025. Banks have not confirmed the extent of the effect, but sources suggest that sensitive client information related to home mortgages and other financial data may have been compromised. These institutions have issued warnings in response to this incident, which has sparked new worries about the security and privacy of client data and old financial systems. The intrusion highlights the drawbacks of vendor-reliant systems and centralized databases, which are vulnerable to widespread hacking via single points of failure. Blockchain technology improves financial services data security and privacy in a number of ways. By distributing data among several nodes, decentralization lowers the possibility of a single server being compromised. Can reveal every piece of client data, privacy and encryption. Advanced cryptography, which can be created with selective transparency for compliance, is used in blockchain transactions, permitting auditability while concealing personal identities. Minimized fraud and immutability. All right, take a moment to think about this. It's quite incredible. Guess what happens when you transfer money across borders and it passes through several different banks? You do realize that every bank in that chain has access to your personal data. Your information is being shared like a hot potato. However, what if this is the pivotal moment? Without actually disclosing any of your private information to this entire network of institutions, you may authenticate yourself and confirm the sender. We are talking about that kind of magic. Minimized fraud and immutability. Blockchains and financial records are almost impossible to change after the fact, which enhances data integrity and lowers the possibility of manipulation. What am I saying? Because anyone with database access can currently alter records, change numbers, and manipulate entries. However, best of luck with blockchain. To carry it off, you would essentially need to be a superhuman cyber mastermind. Although I haven't personally heard of someone effectively changing blockchain records after the fact, you never know. Perhaps someone will figure it out someday. Intermediaries and legacy vendors, which are frequently foreign weak points in the supply chain, are less resilient when operational resilience is present. Although blockchain isn't flawless or impenetrable, when properly constructed, it raises the bar for attackers and supports privacy and regulatory compliance. Alright. You will adore this following section. Robin Vince is on the rise. The CEO of BNY is this guy. Furthermore, this is no trivial matter. They currently handle assets worth $53.8 trillion. Oh, and they have a partnership with Ripple. Take a listen. What role does that play in the business plan? Of course, Carl, it's a significant trend. It's a major trend. About a year ago, we identified a number of big trends, and we stated that we wanted to position our company and invest in the capabilities that would enable us to profit from those trends. Because even though we want to and are promoting organic growth, we also want to ensure that we are aligning with these significant market cycles. Among these are digital assets. It's not only steady currency though, it's tokenization too. The ecosystem as a whole is affected. As a result, we have been making investments throughout the ecosystem in order to use our traditional assets and then develop our traditional business assets so that they may also be on-chain. That was solid. Perfect. Let's move on to the next topic now. The alarm is raised by the new CEO, Franklin Temple. The world urgently needs a sovereign, neutral, free-floating currency that can be used with all other currencies as the dollar's hegemony is being challenged. Okay. I'll play this one for you now. Listen to this. Look, I always return to dollar dominance and ask, well, where else are you going to go? Thus begin with that. Well, additionally, when you consider the reserve currency, you are searching for confidence, stability, and robust economies. You need capital, which is a free-floating currency. It is not possible to have many capital controls. Therefore, I don't believe that the dollar's dominance is in doubt. I believe the extent to which it is chipped away is a question. Yes. And you see that, without a doubt. And to be honest, I believe that a lot of people are talking about how tariffs and whether or not the United States has affected it. However, I actually recall that when Russia invaded Ukraine and the United States froze Russian assets in US dollars, several central banks said, oh, this could be us. In fact, I believe it began there when someone said, okay, we need to start to diversify this a bit. You've also undoubtedly heard remarks like, you know how we can trust the United States when they act in certain ways. You see it, don't you? Contracts are being completed, just as you saw when the US withdrew Russia from SWIFT. Russia sells oil to India in rupees, which is what the invoice is denominated in. Russia and China are working together in the yuan. That then is the part that is chipping away. The dollar is still your hegemony. Okay, have a look at this. She just revealed a ton of information, but let me explain what's really going on behind the scenes. The United States is currently receiving a lot of side-eye from nations throughout the world. The problem is that if you travel across America in the incorrect direction, you will be immediately excluded from the worldwide payment network. I'm glad you're here to help me navigate this. Until the next upload, see you.